Multifamily Mindset
Podcast. Think bigger.
Hello and welcome back, my friends, to another awesome episode of the Multifamily Mindset Podcast. I'm your hostess, Cyndi Maguire, better known as Cyndi. Show me the money, Maguire. I do wear a few hats around here. I'm a strategist at the Multifamily Mindset, seasoned real estate investor, co-founder of Gold Bar Partners, and mentor to many budding real estate enthusiasts. If you're new here, we're happy you found us and super stoked to have you join our ever-expanding network. Whether you're here looking for inspiration, practical advice, or just a good story, you've come to the right place. At the Multifamily Mindset Podcast, we serve up fresh content twice a week to keep you hooked and pumped. Every Tuesday, we get into some real talk with interviews featuring students from our network, sharing their journey and wisdom they've picked up along the way. Then on Thursdays, our mindset guru, Dallas Pruitt, breaks down the mindset magic from those stories. But wait, there's more. Wednesdays are all about Own the Outcome, a killer podcast hosted by the one and only Tyler Devereaux, the brains behind Multifamily Mindset. Tyler chaps up with top-tier individuals, digging into their journey to success and dropping some serious pearls of wisdom. So whether you're here for the knowledge, the inspiration, or just to soak up some expert insight, you're in the right place, where every episode is your ticket to leveling up in the world of multifamily real estate. So let's get this party started. Today, we have a student of MFM, investor, founder of Oshling Investment Group and Oshling Capital Lending. She loves to surf and golf from the shores of Oahu, Hawaii. A big welcome to Srey Rollins. Yay! So happy to have you here. Hi.
Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
No, the pleasure's all mine. I know we have talked about, your background, your inspiring story of resilience and your journey through multifamily real estate investing. Can you give our audience a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure. So I'm a first-generation Asian American. I'm the firstborn of my family. I'm actually a product of a civil war. I was born in a refugee camp in Thailand. My parents came here when I was 1 and, sought out the American dream. And as eldest in my family, I took a lot of responsibilities growing up. More so, I think, than other kids and teenagers. And it just naturally molded me to be a leader and a voice in finances in my family. And now I've been able to share what I know and help other people as well in their journey for financial freedom.
So we talk about the American dream, and I will admit I am living the American dream as well as a first-generation immigrant. My mom kind of showed me the way. What inspired you to want to live this American dream?
What inspired me to live the dream actually came out of my own, and we'll, cover this later, is financial trauma. So when I grew up, my parents worked quite a bit, and they were trying to educate themselves, build a future for us. We had, family back in our homeland that they were still taking care of and sending money to. So for them, it made financial sense for them to work different shifts. And in that process, it did not allow them to be able to be around and get me off to school and do all those things. So I actually was raised by my nanny, who was also my father's great aunt. So I grew up with her and my sister until we were, I would say, almost the end of middle school, if I remember correctly. There was one specific memory, knowing, how hard my father worked and my mother worked so hard that they couldn't even, that I couldn't even live with them. We went to the mall one time and I wanted a Barbie doll, and I was not scared is not the right word, but I felt so selfish to ask my father for that Barbie. And he cried, or I cried, and he was trying to find out why I was crying. And I'm like sobbing and like, Dad, I really want this Barbie, but I'm afraid to ask. And he was like, you silly child, that's exactly what we're doing. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, is to give you the things that we want you to have. But it stuck with me. And I just can relate to a lot of families that have to do sacrifices for the ones that they love. And even though they may not have had to live separately from their parents or their children, they're still trading a lot of time for money, and I realized much younger that there's got to be a better way.
So how old were you when you realized there was a better way?
Oh gosh, a better way. I was 14 years old, and I got my first job. And I was also approached to be the leader of our youth group. I was vice president of a Bible study group that also had leadership, and we reached out to other younger students that were having a hard time in high school and stuff. Maybe were wrapped up in the wrong friend group and whatnot. So with that, we started a nonprofit. So yeah, it's just it kind of snowballed from there.
At 14.
At 14, yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I know when we were talking and your affiliation and your how much you like to spend time with the church, we talked about you being a modern Proverbs 31 superwoman, or that mindset.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't know really what that means. Can you enlighten us on what a modern Proverbs 31 superwoman would be or is?
Sure. So there's lots of components of this woman, and in a nutshell, some of my path, like that I've shared with you, it instilled in me the virtues of that modern Proverbs woman. She's resilient, she's empathetic, she's very resourceful. She has leadership skills because those are the gifts that God has equipped her with. And with that, it allows one to aspire to be observant of her household, to have strength in her character. She has a financial voice in the things that she does for her family. And her mindset, again, is just knowing that she's been chosen and she's been equipped with gifts that the Lord has given her. And with that purpose in mind, she doesn't neglect those gifts and shares it as a servant in the community to the people that, she encounters.
So how do you serve the community?
Well, there's a couple different ways, in my church, and a future endeavor of mine is we want to open a nonprofit for single parents and people that have suffered from various traumas and have overcome it. So that's a big passion project of ours. In the financial space, it's being a sounding board and a reflection, a mirroring of other women and other marriages, and even to single women who have haven't found their spouse yet, but showing them and voicing, letting them be a soundboard, letting me be their soundboard, that it's okay to have these strengths, to have a financial voice, and you can still have that respect and honor from your husband, and you still honoring and respecting him. You have in those gifts and actions that you are able to perform in serving others, you are, the word I'm looking for is living out God's divine purpose. And you're still doing that in your feminine energy while also being celebrating your husband's masculine energy.
I love that. Your ultimate destiny, right?
Yes.
That's great. So how did you get involved with MFM? What's that story?
MFM. So I was like a lot of women, I would say, you're watching HGTV and you're watching people flip houses and things like that. So it's a long story, but 14 years ago, I started flipping houses and doing all these different things, wholesaling and things like that. And I always wondered, we would drive past these apartment buildings, like, how are people buying these things? Like, how does it even happen? And I was just flipping through something one day, and Tyler showed up on my, one of my feeds. And, God gave me some direction. I went to one of his presentations here on Oahu, and we prayed on it. And, The rest is history.
I mean, it is history, but what was that turning point where you're like, this is what I need to do? This
Oh,
is
sure.
this is gonna get us to the next level that we want to get to be able to create and start our nonprofit and things like
Mhm.
that.
Well, some of your listeners may have experienced layoffs and things of that nature, but in my experience in leadership and management, gosh, 24 years now of that position, I've been laid off 3 times. And the first time I got laid off, even though my father told me, you work hard, things will be okay, you're diligent, all those things. I realized that that's not enough. People are replaceable, and the only way that we were going to be able to, build the wealth and live all the things that we wanted to do was to take matters into our own hands. So that's when we started real estate investing, and we've always wanted to scale up, but we didn't quite know exactly how. And it's been weighing on us for quite some time that we want to do more. Specifically, it's our why was a personal one. Neil and I have been trying to have children for a long time, and people have different definitions of legacy, but God revealed to us that our legacy was going to be something different. It wasn't maybe directly to our children, but the children of tomorrow. The children of these men and women who are single parents that are struggling, children who have encountered some traumas in their life and they just need someone to love on them and give them opportunities. And we just felt that that was going to be us.
Well, I'm going to rewind a little because you said some key points about your father and how most of us are raised. We go to school, get a job, and then when we lose a job, we're supposed to get another job.
Exactly.
Right? We go to, and then you buy a house and then you have your family or get married. And so how did you break that idea? Because I will tell you, once I started investing, I too was flipping like you, and I started and that's really what I focused on for income. And when my father didn't think I had a real job because I didn't leave the house.
Yeah.
Right. And so I kept saying every time I get this email from my dad with it, like get another degree or get certified and be a nurse or an x-ray technician. And I'm like, Dad, I already have a lot of degrees. If I wanted a real job, I'd go get one. So how did you just break off from corporate America and how did your family react? Because I get it. Asian American or first generation, we don't do that. We just get more jobs.
Yes, we get more jobs. Go be a nurse, be a doctor. Yeah. So my family was very supportive. My husband supportive as well. And that's because, over the years since, like I said, since I was a kid, I was making a lot of decisions for our family, with our family. And they've always entrusted me anyways with, finances, with directions. My sisters joke that I'm the parent, and after the second layoff is when we really took things at a bigger scale. We really started looking at how are the different ways that we can invest, what are the different avenues, what are the different tools. And on the third layoff, I had just recently got promoted, actually. Waited a year, got a huge promotion, and then 6 months later, they did some restructuring and I had a new VP, and I was one of the people that got laid off, but it was actually a blessing. God's timing is perfect because I had already stepped into learning about, multifamily and how to scale things at a much bigger. And what kept me from not doing it before, Cyndi, was fear, right? And that money trauma from my family. Like, you got to work, you got to have a job, you got to, like, that same 9 to 5 thing, trading time for money. That's what we're all ingrained to do. But being part of MFM, it opened my eyes to see that yes, we still technically trade time for money, but it's not the same amount of time. It's at my leisure, right? I work with the investors that I want to work with. I work with sponsors that are synergistic with me. I can go surfing. Being a passive investor and creating wealth through multifamily, it's a lifestyle that I didn't know was even possible. I mean, it just having a peek into the window of possibility is what made me say, us as a family say, no, we're just going to do this full time. And since then, we've been able to do, great things. We're even recently launching our capital lending opportunities as well. So
it's a game
breaking
changer.
free from that trauma. Yeah, game changer, breaking free from that money trauma, recognizing that you have that trauma and operating from not taking those traumas and not operating from fear, but instead operating from hope. And it's that hope, and it's not hopium that we're taking, right? It's a spirit of hope, a spirit of grace, and for us, God's timing and his blessings for our purpose that, drive us.
Hey, listeners, thank you for tuning in to the MFM podcast. We truly appreciate your support and hope you're enjoying the insights from our incredible guests. We have one small favor to ask. Please leave us a review and rating. Your feedback means the world to us. And to show you our appreciation, we're giving away some great prizes to some lucky listeners who leave us a review. So scroll down, share your thoughts, and help us continue to bring valuable content. Thanks, and back to the show.
So you jumped straight. How did you know you were going to succeed in this? Given that you weren't working anymore.
That's a loaded
I can't
question.
tell you, so many people are just, they're wishy-washy because, not many people in the United States will ever own a multifamily apartment. And I always tell students or other people who are looking into investing in multifamily that, less than 1% will ever own one. So you have to be willing to do what most people won't.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. Right there. You've got to be willing to do things that most people won't. When you take risks, you take calculated risks. You take risks with people that are knowledgeable, that are smarter than you, that have the same values as you. All those things are what's going to help you get along and get past those money traumas that you might have, those worries that you potentially need to get over.
So tell me about your first multifamily.
Our first multifamily actually was an LP position. And, we jumped in thinking, okay, we're going to do acquisitions and get on that right away. But what we've learned, part of our lessons learned, is it takes time. Some people are amazing. I know a couple that did 6 in a year. I think you and yourself did like 10 in a year or something amazing like that. But it doesn't always happen like that for everyone. And while we were diligently underwriting, meeting brokers, building relationships, an opportunity for us to LP came along, and it had us pivot a little bit, but it also gave us learning opportunities to know, even at a deeper level, what is actually involved. Even though you're an LP, like, why did those GPs choose to do the things that they did? Why are they choosing these apartments or, these types of value adds, things like that, right? It's one thing to learn about it in theory. It's another to participate, even if you're doing it passively, to learn about the dynamics of the investment process.
So I'm going to just rewind a little because I know we have listeners who have no clue what an LP and a GP is. So would you like to explain to us what a GP or an LP, what you were as an LP on your first multifamily deal?
Yes, absolutely. So I was a limited partner, which means that though my funds were being invested in the property, I did not make any financial decisions. They'll call me and ask me, hey, should we put a pickleball court in or should we do a tennis court, right? But for the most part, it's kind of like what most people are doing anyways, where they invest their money in stocks, which are just paper exchanges. Instead, as a limited partner, you're investing passively without decisions. You're investing in a tangible asset, something that you can see, you can smell, you can visit, you can touch. sometimes smells not great when you're just going to visit those buildings for the first time.
Depends on what neighborhood it's in, right?
Exactly. But it's there for the first time. When you're visiting there for the first time, you can see all the different things. It's, again, the word is tangible.
Yes, absolutely. So we talked about, and I love how you love empowering women and others about overcoming money and the money traumas you dealt with in your youth. Can you tell us a little more about your mission to help others raise their financial IQ?
Yeah. So our brand promise at Oshling Investment Group is empower, build, and breathe. So the first phase of empowerment is helping people raise their financial IQ, right? That's having financial awareness, learning about all the different ways that one can invest, whether it's a tax-free account, something new that you introduced me to, infinite banking. Now my brain's going off about that. How do you take money from a 401k and do a backdoor so that you can do different types of investments? How can you utilize your, beautiful spouse who's a stay-at-home mom and turn her into a real estate professional so that she can offset your W-2 taxes? Getting our investors to work with pre-vetted professionals. We have our service is a concierge type service. So we have tax strategists, we have corporate identity creators, estate planners. So pretty much anything under the sun, we really try to make our experience with our investors as smooth as possible. So once they have raised their IQ or just added to and built on that financial IQ, they're ready to now build with us. That's when they start doing the investments with us, right?
Can I ask how you raised your financial IQ?
Oh gosh, so many things. It started out something simple. Most people do it every day. They're on social media, but instead of spending it on followers and influences that didn't add value to my life and value to others, I started following influencers that were adding value and serving the community of people that they're trying to reach. So that was the first thing I did, just little bits here and there. And then I started being more productive with my time. When I'm in the car, if I'm not listening to worship music, I'm listening to a podcast, one such as yours, that's teaching me little bits at a time, right? Piquing my interest. And then I started with MFM. That really blew up was I joined a mastermind. And I'm not saying that you have to do that by any means, but for us, we were busy professionals. Joining the mastermind was huge because we were able to get kind of the fast track version instead of trying to figure everything out on our own, which is totally possible. We did it with other things.
I'm going to say it is necessary. I think, when they talk about maybe not, mastermind, but you need to be around like-minded people doing this stuff. Because, when they say the 5 people closest to you, you're kind of the average of. So if the average of your friends make 30,000 a year, most likely you make 30,000 a year. And your mindset is similar, work, go home, and then work again the next day.
Yes.
But when you find yourself in a room or in a Zoom or around entrepreneurs or people or investors or looking for people to raise their financial IQ, I know I have been in all my multiple businesses because of the people I've been around, because they lift me up. As I get value from them, I bring value to them as well, working on a business together and things like that. And so honestly, I feel it's really important, especially if that is your goal, to raise your financial IQ, is to be around people that have a higher financial IQ than you, right?
Exactly.
That's how you learn about infinite banking. It's like, oh, you don't know about that? And you know where I learned it from? Another investor who turned me on to it.
Yeah. And you never know who for myself, like who God puts in your life, and be open to it. And by putting yourself in those spaces where maybe you're not comfortable doing it, you're opening yourself so many opportunities. Because if you're not the smartest person in the room, if you're not the richest person in the room, you're the right person in the room.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So for someone, so for me, I started in 2004. I was still an engineer. Actually, I got laid off. I've been laid off a few times, just like you. That's just how it works in corporate America, right?
Yes.
And my mom gave me the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I remember I was looking to buy a house in the San Jose Hills in California. It was about $1 million on a single income, my husband's income at the time. And as I'm reading this book, I'm like, I don't think this is a smart idea. I think I told my husband at the time, if we bought this house and you happen to lose your job, because he too was an engineer like myself, we're going to have to learn to like macaroni cheese and ramen, because we won't be able to afford living here if we did lose a job. And it really changed my outlook and my financial IQ on money and using money to grow and to get you to another level. So what would you say for someone looking to increase their financial IQ? What's their next move? They're listening to this and they're like, I don't know where my financial IQ is. I think I need help.
You just brought up a great idea. Make a little quiz, a free quiz for people. I think that's a great start. The first thing to do is whatever it is that you're interested, whether it's multifamily, flipping houses, whatever it is, get into the community where those people are operating. If you're a social media person, follow the people that are great at it and slowly engulf yourself with what they're speaking, right? Because the sum of your experiences as a future investor, as a growing investor, is the disposition of your thoughts that you have acquired through putting yourself in the atmosphere of other people who are thinking like you and are going to be doing like you for you to reach the success that you would like. And hopefully you'll bring other people along with you in that journey. And that's, such a great blessing.
I'm sure they will. I too swear by having mentors. And I like to look at and follow people who've done more and are doing what I want to do. I always say, can you be a monkey? And they look at me like, monkey? I'm like, can you be a monkey? I mean, that's how I learned real estate investing. It was just monkey see, monkey do, not to be calling myself a monkey.
I see. I was like, where's she going with this?
That's the monkey see, monkey do. I mean, that's the easiest way to learn and to really understand and to increase your financial IQ. So, Srey, what is your biggest lesson learned in finances, in investing, in multifamily?
Okay. So specifically, so many lessons learned, but specifically in multifamily, I've learned that if this is the path that you're taking, if you know what your why is, then you've been chosen and you've been equipped. So take that purpose, don't neglect it, and give yourself plenty of grace. And that's something that I think for myself, I didn't do enough of, which sometimes, gets you down. You have goals, you have a type A personality, you have a problem, you give a solution, you're the solution. But what I've learned, especially in the last few months, is to remember that I've been given grace. So I need to start my day in prayer and gratitude, give as more than I take, and continue to empower others through the words that I speak, through the time that I spend with them, and really live out, I aspire to be that modern Proverbs woman so that I can continue to bring prosperity, not just to my family, but to others that I've been able to bring along this journey with me. And through that experience, continue to, make my husband proud and my family proud of me.
I am absolutely sure All of them are very proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm not even
Oh, thank
related to you. I love hearing your story and just, everything you've overcome. And most importantly, I love how you want to and love to empower others, because I think we all have purposes in our lives. And I think that's a major purpose all of us has, when we're able to do something and then be able to share it. So with this new year, what would you advise our listeners who are looking to start this investing? It's a new year. Where should they start?
They should start with mindset. They should start with mindset. Be prepared. You are going to put in some work, a lot of work. You will, encounter some disappointments, but it doesn't mean that you failed. Continue to go back to your why all the time when you're having those hard days. And remember that the traumas and the fears that you have when it comes to investing and moving money around, don't let those fears, those traumas create fear. Let those traumas create hope for a change that only you can make.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So how can our listeners find you or contact you if they want to hear more and learn more?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. They could find me on LinkedIn. Super easy. Just Srey Rollins. That's Srey, last name Rollins, Rollins. You can also follow us, my husband and I. It's Rollin' with the Rollins. Super easy.
Oh, I love that. Rolling with the Rollins.
That's right. You can tell one of my favorite movies growing up.
Well, thank you so much, Srey. And thank you, my friends, for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed our episode with Srey. Please join us again for more stories, insights, and inspiration. Until then, keep thinking bigger and get better every day.
Multifamily Mindset Podcast. Think